Well, I realized that when I was up earlier, I was much more prepared in what I wanted to ask, and I feel, in a good way, less prepared now, because I'm trying to get at deeper questions, and I started with abstract questions, and I guess part of why I brought up this phenomenon of narcissism was because I have trouble sometimes staying in my center with other people, especially people that have very strong wills.
Well, let's make sure we're all talking about the same thing here. So, do you believe that there is something inappropriate with a person being confident?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's not the right answer, but if I look at how I behave and how I feel around people that are confident or very set or strong in what they want or who they are.
Well, don't get carried away just with what we mean. In other words, is confidence something that you would want for yourself or for someone you care about? Would you rather someone be confident or insecure?
Confident.
Would you rather be confident or insecure?
Confident.
Would you rather feel frisky or afraid?
Frisky.
Would you rather feel security or insecurity?
Security.
Would you like to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the source energy that is you, or would you like to be diminished from it in some way? Now, we're, of course, obvious. So we're just laying a little basis here. So when you feel confident, do you acknowledge that what that means is the thoughts that you are thinking during the time of feeling confident are not contradicting anything that the broader part of you knows or feels. And so you are, in that moment of confident thought, causing no separation between you and you. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that that's true confidence. I guess I feel like I also have an experience where sometimes I habitually act confident, which doesn't necessarily mean that I'm aligned in that way.
Well, we're not talking about any of that. In other words, that's why we said we think that it would be helpful if we all get talking about the same thing. And what we really want to say to you is you have no accurate way of knowing whether someone else is in alignment with who they are or not. Usually, someone who is in alignment is confident and kind. In other words, the more stability you feel, then the more leeway you have for others. In other words, if you see a child just learning to walk and it clumsily falls down, you don't shout, "Get up, you little dummy." In other words, you from your place of knowing you can walk and from your place of knowing that the child will be able to too, you don't freak out because in this moment it's not walking. And so when our point is that when you are in alignment with who you are, and therefore in alignment with the resources of Source, in that stability, you are not self-conscious of what someone else thinks of you, nor are you critical when you are looking at others. In other words, the reason that people get freaky or freak out at the behavior of others is because they incorrectly believe that that behavior of that other can somehow be upsetting to their own apple cart, and it cannot. In other words, the whole world could be upside down and out of step, and if you've managed to maintain alignment with who you are, all you would feel would be a desire to assist the others or an understanding that they are temporarily out of balance, but you wouldn't feel threatened by their imbalance. And so what we are wanting to have a conversation about is that as narcissism goes, we are for it, in the sense that we would like, first of all of you are born as confident, secure, self-serving beings. And by selfish, we mean you can only perceive through the perspective of self. And that's a good thing, because as you are perceiving through the perspective of self, it is your desire to feel good. And when you desire to feel good, you will in time align yourself with the energy of your source and stability and power in order to feel good. And when you do that, you could only ever then add value to the world. You'll never find someone connected to Source who is acting out in violence against another. It just doesn't happen. When you are in alignment, you don't attract that sort of thing. You don't look for it and you don't find it, you see. So we just wanted to lay some basis here, because it's easy, and a lot of people are throwing words around, and when we get off on a basis that is not valid, then any conversation that we have is not meaningful.
I guess part of the struggle I have is that
Struggle I have with what?
People.
The struggle I have with other people.
The struggle I have with some other people.
But why would you let someone else be so important to you that you would label them a struggle?
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
No.
And we think the only reason that you would do that is that you think their behavior, their conformity, their something that they're doing must be necessary for your own survival or your own well-being. And that's the thing that we're trying to convince you is not accurate. In other words, the only thing that makes up your experience is the vibration of who you really are and the vibration of who you're being and the relationship of the two. And everyone else is irrelevant to your stability. Really. Now, what the part that they play is they've come forth. You all have come forth to interplay with one another because they provide the contrast that helps you to ask. So if you see behavior in others that is upsetting to you, all it does is make you ask for something more. But when what you're asking for is for their behavior to be different, you're completely out of control. Where if what you're asking of yourself is that you selectively sift through the data and choose different thoughts to think, you've got control of your own alignment. Let's be blunt. Control of your own alignment's the only control you've got. Let's be blunter still. Control of your own alignment is the only control you've got, and it's all the control you need. Because if you're in control of where you focus, you're in control of your alignment. If you're in control of your alignment, you're in control of your point of attraction. So if you're in control of your point of attraction, it doesn't matter what other odd, by your standard, things people are doing out there. They're not part of your experience. So we know you get it or seem to agree with us theoretically. Now let's talk specifics. So what is it that's bothering you about some other people, causing this inner struggle within you? Is it their response to you?
Well, at this point, I feel that I've stepped enough into a perspective of responsibility that it's not them that's my focus. It's who I become in their presence. There are people who I like myself more when I'm around, and other people who I don't really like myself.
So are you saying to us that you have the potential to have all kinds of things activated within you? That you have the potential to have something activated within you that you would call love, and you have the potential of having something activated within you that you would call insecurity or resentment, and that it's somebody else's responsibility to activate only the good stuff?
No, I'm just trying to learn how to be more selective and more discerning in how I direct my own life so that I attract more people that I feel good around.
Well, that's a wonderful way of putting it, and that's what we want for you too. But we want to say to you, you can't get there by noticing that other people have characteristics that you don't like. Because when you notice they've got them, you activate them, and now you attract them. It's like saying, oh, there are people out there that have stuff that I don't like, and it's like that and that and that. Oh, I'm getting more. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Yeah, I hate that. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. Oh, man, the whole world. That. Yeah, that. Is anybody absent of that? Because you get what you think about whether you want it or not. And so as we began this conversation, you wanted to talk about what they've got wrong with them that causes you to look at it and then to get it. And we want to bring you back to your point of empowerment by saying there are all kinds of things out there that you don't want. You don't go to the cookie counter and say, they've got those peanut butter cookies. I cannot stand those peanut butter cookies. Why would you have peanut butter cookies? I'm sure no one likes them. I hate peanut butter cookies. I refuse to choose any cookies until you take those away.
There's plenty of other cookies.
There's plenty of other things for you to focus upon except the thing that's bothering you. These narcissistic cookies.
Maybe if I call them cookies from now on, I won't take it as seriously.
Maybe if you accept their right to be as they are and you exercise your ability to focus where you feel best. And the thing that's really interesting about that is that every one of these people who have these characteristics that are driving you crazy have other characteristics that you would like if you could focus upon them. You can become a selective enough sifter that you can get the best out of every cookie you focus upon. We're not kidding. Even people who have overtly obnoxious tendencies, you can focus around them and have meaningful relationships. Now, we're not saying that you have to do that. We're just saying to you that when you are in alignment with who you are. Now, that, for example, we're just playing with you. Very annoying. That is truly annoying. And if we based our entire relationship with him upon the fact that he did not turn off his telephone,
it's on vibrate. So
we would never be able to tolerate him again. But he has so many other redeeming features. He's been responsible for some of the best material that has ever flowed through this. Therefore, what's a little telephone in the middle of a recorded session? So, tell us again what your trouble with narcissism is, with awareness of self and caring about self. Do you think it's because what's really bothers you about a person like that? How does that negatively impact you? You behave in ways that bother me. Is that the extent of it?
Oh no, it goes deeper than that.
What? How deep?
I start to feel confused. I feel chaos in my own vibration because part of me wants to search for a way to look for the best, to have compassion, to connect on areas where, because usually these are not black and white. Usually I'm talking about people that there are aspects of them that I love, often very much. And then these other things come in and I feel chaos in the sense that I'm trying to dance around two very different emotions. One of love and connection and one of I start to feel very defensive and like I need to protect myself and cut off.
Well, whenever you feel negative emotion, it always means that what you're giving your attention to has you out on the raw and ragged edge apart from your source. Mm-hmm. So what you just said and what your emotions mean is that when you feel negative emotion, it means you have isolated a behavior or a property mm-hmm. of whatever your object of attention is mm-hmm. in a way that your inner being will not do. In other words, you've pinpointed something that the source within you is not willing to pinpoint. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Esther will say, come on, Abraham, you got to give me this one. Come over here and complain with me about this. Yeah. Because I know I'm right, I know I'm justified, I know I'm valid, I know almost everybody in the world, at least the world I like best, would agree with me. So why are you not willing to come over here and complain? And we say, because we, in our part of this co-creative experience, our agreement is, as source energy, that when you define what you want, we will give our attention to what you want, not the opposite of it. Mm-hmm. In other words, the reason that the universe, the reason that we can promise you that your world, that all worlds, that the universe, that all that is becoming better and more, is because with each exposure to each thing you don't want, you ask for what you do want, and source energy becomes that. And we think that what you're talking about, that you're assigning to another and giving a label that may or not be accurate, it doesn't matter, that what you're really talking about, and you said it best with your last words to us, you are feeling the chaos of your split energy because of the way some people are, and therefore you don't like them. And we say, you just gotta say, be how you want to be. I will use my ability to focus. I will stay in alignment regardless of what you're doing. And therefore, I am acknowledging my freedom to feel good regardless of what you are doing. Because nothing else works, because you can't control their behavior, you can't control their upbringing, you can't control the way life touched them, you can't control the teacher they had in the first grade all those years ago, you can't control the relationship they've had with their family or with their lovers, you can't control what happened to them, you can't control the way they have become, and you can't control their connection to their source. And we promise you, anyone who's behaving really badly is someone not connected to their source. And now you're saying, your bad behavior is keeping me from being connected to my source, and it all is contingent upon your behavior. And we say that's bondage in the fullest sense of the word. What do you want to say instead? What you want to say instead is, the way I feel is something that I'm working to train myself on every day. I'm training myself emotion by emotion into alignment with who I am.